In this video, I'm going to talk about the first 2 weeks of my recovery from my tummy tuck and my chest reduction surgery. In case you haven't already seen it, I did do a 1 week video and I also did a 72-hour video, so please do feel free to check those out. I've included the links in the description. And please remember to subscribe for future updates. If this is the first video that you're seeing, just to recap, I lost 140 pounds from my heavy stomatitis. I have a lot of loose skin. I had it removed with tummy tuck and chest reduction surgery, and I'm just backtracking and recording what the recovery was like now. First thing I want to talk about is pain. That seems to be generally the most common question I get asked. I wasn't on painkillers after the first 96 hours after surgery. The abdomen wounds, so along the waistline especially, weren't painful as such, but they were starting to itch quite a lot, and the bruising was really starting to come out, especially on this side. And on the chest, middle of chest, so here and here was absolutely fine. There was no pain or anything. It wasn't swollen, but there was no pain. Under the arms, however, because my surgeon and I agree that we'll try and position the scars under my chest muscle. So my scars were quite high, and under the arms, the high friction area, I was using my arms a little bit more. The support garment was pressing in. So there was a lot of friction and they became very prickly and very tender. That did start to hurt more. And that kind of affected me day and night. Nipples were still numb, belly button was still numb. My belly button was reconstructed and my nipples were grafted back on. So I guess the nerve endings take a little bit longer to wake up again. That's not medical explanation, by the way. So the main two things that were causing me trouble were just the itching around here and then the wounds under the arms just feeling more tender and more prickly. Sleep-wise, I was sleeping slightly better in the second week than it was in the first week. I got a little bit more used to sleeping on my back. I started to find a position I could get comfortable in, so that was good. I still needed to get up anytime I wanted to adjust my sleeping position because I couldn't reach my arms out enough to actually adjust the pillows or the cushions. The chest wounds were still prickly, so that wasn't helping. The second week was definitely better than the first week, but still not great. It probably took around 4 weeks till I had like a decent night's sleep. In terms of swelling, there was a very slight reduction in the swelling during the second week. Not drastic or not particularly dramatic, but to me it was noticeable. It fluctuated throughout the day and it really did peak and get a lot worse in the evenings. It was asymmetrical, so the right side was a lot worse as well. And it really kind of felt like it was bursting over the wound. Yeah, 5 months on, you can see it's come down a lot. There is still swelling there, but it has come down a hell of a lot. But during the day, it was better and it meant I could be a bit more upright, which meant I could actually walk a bit more as well. Chest was still swollen and I had some puckering and some extra swelling, especially around here, but it wasn't as dramatic as my abdomen was. In terms of exercise and activity, because of the reduced swelling, I could walk more freely, which meant that I could start walking a little bit longer. I started walking on the treadmill that we have at home. I wasn't ready to start going out to the gym, but we did get a treadmill at home at the start of COVID lockdowns, so I just got on that. I was supported by the handrails, so still hunched over, but I was supported by the handrails, and I could start walking, and I built up to bursts to sort of 25 to 30 minutes. And then I gradually built up to an hour. I had hit my Fitbit step target every day from September 2020 until the day of my surgery in March 2022. And then I had 9-10 days after surgery where I just didn't walk much at all, unsurprisingly. And then sort of when I started walking on the treadmill, I started from 5 or 6K steps a day, gradually built up, and then I got back up to my 12K step target by the end of the second week. That was still indoors on the treadmill because I was still too hunched over to feel comfortable walking outside. Arm movement was still very restricted, so I couldn't do much upper body wise. And anyways, I've been told absolutely zero strenuous exercise of any kind or effort for at least 4 weeks, probably longer. In terms of work, I am 100% remote based and my job is 100% desk based. So I didn't need to plan too much around work, and I started work again about a week and a half after my surgery. So in the middle of week 2 of recovery. And it was fine. I was kind of itching to go back. My brain doesn't do well when it doesn't have something to keep it busy. So it was nice to get back. Some of my colleagues didn't know what I had done, so they did check in and see how I was doing. The only issue I really had was because I was hunched forward, it just affected my posture a lot. So it meant that I couldn't sit for quite as long because I needed to get up a little bit more just to walk around and kind of try and shake myself out. Still no proper shower, so it was a low power shower, back to the shower head, keeping the tapes and wounds as dry as possible, using a hairdryer to dry the tapes completely before putting the support garment on. Still wearing the support garment day and night. By this point, I did get used to it. I didn't enjoy wearing it, but I did get used to it. And still wearing button-up and zip-up tops. I couldn't reach my arms over to get into like a normal t-shirt. Appetite-wise, still wasn't 100%, but it was starting to come back. And I was still very stringent on hitting my hydration target of 2.5 to 3 liters of water a day. I also had my first lymphatic drainage massage this week, also known as manual lymphatic drainage. If you're not familiar with that term, lymphatic drainage massage is a gentle form of massage which is designed to help lymph fluid move around the body. I found a local therapist who could come to me, and she was fantastic. And I found each time it made a pretty instant or pretty immediate difference. Something to look out for if you are getting that is to try and find someone that does specialize, just focus on post-operative massages, because they'll have a little bit more, I guess, awareness of navigating your own surgical wounds, especially if they're quite fresh, that line work. So that's just something to bear in mind if that's something you're looking at. And also, when I had my first massage, it really kind of made me realize the impact this surgery had on sort of my confidence. Up until this point, I don't think anyone outside of like a doctor or nurse when I was getting the surgery done had ever seen me really without a shirt on. And then this massage therapist turns up at my door, and I've never met them before, and I had no hesitation whatsoever, just kind of like taking my top off and letting her do what she needed to do. It made me realize how big a jump I had in my confidence. And I'll talk about massages, post-surgical care, and scar care in other videos as well. But if you hit the subscribe button, you'll be able to get an update as soon as I come. I had my 2-week follow-up, and it went pretty much along the same lines as a 1-week follow-up. The nurse did a sort of general check on my well-being and how I was finding recovery. She checked my wounds, changed the tapes. The nurses really seemed to admire the stitch work my surgeon did, so I guess that's a good sign. Wounds were all fine, everything was healing well, so just covered up with new tape and gave me some extra in case I needed it. The extra covering on my nipples came off, the external stitches on those came off. So it was the first time I could actually see them properly, and I did not enjoy that experience. I was very squeamish, and I just I didn't want to be feeling this. So I had some extra cotton pads with me, like these, and I just kind of put them over my nipples before I put my support garment back on, and they just kind of sat there and gave me an extra barrier between the nipples and the support garment. The stitches from my belly button also came out, and I wasn't too bothered about that. You could see some swelling, so I thought I had an outie belly button. That started to go down as well. That was the first time I saw my reconstructed belly button, so that was a new experience. Apart from my nipples, none of the other wounds or stitches or anything really gave me any sort of reason to feel squeamish. I just tried to ignore the nipples as best I could. I kept them covered as long as I could, and everything else seemed fine. The 2-week follow-up was my last appointment at the hospital. All follow-ups from then on would be done by my surgeon at his own clinic. But the hospital did remind me as well that even though this is my last booked follow-up, they are still there. If I need anything, I can just phone them, make an appointment, and get myself down. So I was very grateful for that. And they were fantastic throughout. I really cannot fault the care I received from them. So that was it at the 2-week mark. Things were going well. Everything felt like it was going in the right direction. Yes, there was some pain and discomfort. Yes, there were things I needed to get used to. But it was going the right direction and with no real complications, so that's probably the most important thing. And even 5 months on, like I said, I'm not fully recovered. The scars, like around the chest, is still a bit swollen. Abdomen is still a bit swollen. Scars, and that normally takes around a year to heal. So I'm just kind of riding that out. But every day you still sort of see a gradual improvement, and you feel like you're on the steady upward path. So overall, the first 2 weeks were uncomfortable, but steady, I guess. And since then, it's been a gradual improvement each time, even 5 months on. So it's been a very positive experience throughout so far. And that's partially why I wanted to wait and talk about this, so I could tell you this is what things were like then, but this is how they proceeded from then on. If you want to stay tuned for future updates, please remember to hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you want to leave any questions and comments, feel free.